Wubba lubba dub dub!
Hello everyone, Esports Money, ZSM, Mech10, whatever you want to call me here, and welcome to the news of the week for the week of July the 21st of 2017. I'm recording this on the 22nd, which is Saturday, of course. This video will typically be released on Friday, however, I just didn't get around to it yesterday. So the video is a bit more up-to-date than usual because of the fact that it's a day late. What I've done is, based on various news sources, mostly Reddit, both in keeping up with them and then going back and double checking after the fact. These are your big news items for the day, or for the week. So on the Oculus subreddit, this is almost entirely Oculus exclusive. Freebies for newbies. So this is basically everything on the Oculus store that is free. Free with the Oculus Rift, free with the Oculus Touch. I did not realize that I had Oculus Medium and Quill access, so that's cool. And then a handful of really cool things on Steam VR trials. Pretty much everything on Steam VR on this list is going to be compatible with both the Oculus Rift and the HTC Vive, because Steam VR is just flexible like that. Trials on Tatooine is an absolute masterpiece, so you should be looking into that. Dolphin VR is another really cool thing. GameCube and Wii emulation through VR, which is something I am still pretty excited about. Vivecraft and Vive Doom. Vive Doom is... This is for the old versions of Doom. This is... You should already be pretty aware with this. Pretty aware of this. There's a PSP VR emulator, and then there's a Quake 2 VR mod. However, we're going to talk a little bit more about VR modding in just a minute because... Ooh, Star Wars Battle of Endor is... Huh. I did not know this. So Star Wars Battle of Endor seems to be updated for the CV1, which is pretty exciting. Yeah. That's cool. So moving on, so the Oculus deal, this is pretty big news, however I'm a bit late on this. This came out, I want to say, like 10 days ago. The Oculus Rift price has dropped to a consistent $500 for the entire package, including the touch controllers. There were sales earlier this month where it went down to $400, including the peak cheapness of the device, the best value, which was a $400 purchase that included a $100 Amazon gift card if you had Amazon Prime access. That is absolutely massive. The deal only lasted for a few hours because it sold out so quickly, and because of this new deal and because of the reduced price, there is a new package. Now I have the Oculus Touch and the Oculus headset, and both my boxes are mounted on my, or not mounted, but they're up on my wall over there. So if I want to transport my device, I can. However, this new layout is much more convenient and is much easier to transport your device to new and exciting places. And considering I am personally interested in getting a laptop that can run VR stuff, this is a really cool development because this all ships together, and then you just need your laptop and this, and you can bring VR with you anywhere. Another article, this one's from uploadvr.com. Oculus, don't hold your breath for new Rift technology soon. This is basically Oculus Rift saying that they're not making new hardware in the near future. I assume that would be referring to this year. I don't think anyone really cares too much about this. I think the HTC Vive is the company that should be feeling the biggest press for more hardware. For whatever reason, the HTC Vive is actually destroying the Oculus Rift in sales, despite the fact that if they were the same price, I would still have bought the Oculus because those touch controllers are so much better than the Vive's controllers, and the headset is more ergonomic. Though the Vive headset is a bit technically superior to the Oculus headset, the Oculus headset is a bit lighter, and again, I'll say it's more ergonomic. That's what a lot of people say. I actually haven't physically tried on a Vive just yet. I've tried multiple iterations of the Oculus, though I did have the opportunity to try one, but I didn't want to wait in line at the last conference I was at. Probably the biggest news of one of the biggest news items of the week is Marvel's Powers United VR has been announced for the Rift. Unfortunately, it's going to be coming in 2018, so that's kind of disappointing. However, this is a pretty incredible deal. Actually, I'm going to cut a bit farther into the trailer because a lot of it is fluff. The budget of this trailer is bigger than a lot of VR indie games. It's pretty over the top. It looks like it's going to be an absolute blast. I personally will certainly be buying it. It looks like a play on Robo Recall with 5 different characters from the Marvel Universe that also has co-op compatibility. Next on the list is...
Motion triggered?
Excuse me. Next on the list is something I noticed on the Vive subreddit that should be compatible with both the Vive and the Oculus, and this is Doom 3 VR. And this isn't just a head-mounted display mod like we see with Vorpex. This is full integrated VR support for the game Doom 3. And this also looks like you have, there's point to teleport, to move around, and it also looks like you're actually physically holding a gun. You're not just turning your head and shooting like you would be in something like Borderlands ran through Vorpex or another FPS ran through Vorpex. So this is really exciting. This is really cool. I've only learned about this in the last few hours. I haven't tested this yet myself, and I don't know if I own a copy of Doom 3 on Steam. I know I own a copy of it, but I'm pretty sure it's not on Steam. So I will be testing and tinkering with this in the near future. Moving on to the next article, Microsoft is making first-party content for its Windows 10 VR headsets, and this is going to be set up in an open VR context, so they won't be natively supporting it. However, Windows does advertise both the Rift and the Vive, so I assume that they won't be too DRM heavy on this. And they are saying they're using the OpenVR setup, so it might not be supported out of the box, but it will be relatively easy to bring over, so not that big of a deal. Lenovo reveals an alternate or a augmented reality headset called the Daystar. I'm not sure if this should have made it into this week's news, but I wanted to touch on it briefly because it looks kind of cool. That being said, I will almost certainly not be buying one myself because you need to be walking around outside. Well, you don't have to be walking around outside, but this is, I think, something that's designed to be brought into the outside world with you, and, like, look at that. I would much rather be just doing VR by myself in my room. Facing reality, this infographic was posted on the Vive's website. The revenue for the Samsung Gear VR is the lowest of any VR headset. However, the Vive is second with only 228 million units sold. It has a very, very, very small amount of sales. Actually, the smallest of any VR headset. The Vive more than doubling it, and then the PlayStation VR looking to be the most successful VR headsets. However, I would say that the one that is the most technically impressive is the Vive. My personal favorite will remain the Oculus Rift. I vote with my money, and I have. And I was pretty familiar with the specs of all of these going into it. The Samsung Gear VR, I don't even know if it should be on this list, because these three headsets are all things that require a massive amount of computer power, and this is just something to throw a cell phone into. But the PlayStation VR headset is by far and away the weakest of all three of these headsets. And it is the most popular, and the reason it's the most popular is you don't have to know anything about computers to operate one. You can buy it and plug it into a PlayStation 4 Pro, and it will run. Also, Skyrim is undoubtedly selling a lot of these. And then last, another quick first look at Marvel Powers United VR gameplay. It looks really, really good, and I'm getting a distinct Robo Recall-esque vibe here. So that's pretty exciting. But yeah, this is your news. We have been under 10 minutes. I'm very happy about the fact that this took under 10 minutes. If you enjoyed this content, please hit that like button. Please hit the subscribe button. If you have advice for me on where to gather my news for VR content, or if I missed an important news story in your eyes within the last 7 or 8 days, please let me know. Again, I apologize for the video being a day late, but if there was any content released in the last 24 hours, then I would have it now, and I wouldn't have had it yesterday, though I don't believe any of these stories were released in the last 24 hours. So thank you, and have a wonderful weekend. Cheers.